Good evening and welcome to the first public meeting on the Downtown Crossing Accessibility Phase 2 project. We're going to wait a couple of minutes while people join us and sign on. So please be patient and we will start in about 2 minutes. Thank you. Just a note to remind you that this meeting is being recorded so that we are able to post it on the project website for those who can't join us this evening. All right, I think we will begin to start the meeting. John, you can move us to the next slide.
Sure thing.
Another welcome slide. This is our virtual public meeting, again, for Downtown Crossing Accessibility Phase 2. And I will introduce you to how to use Zoom, which I'm sure most of you are acquainted with by now. But we're using the side-by-side mode so that you can see our ASL interpreters, Katie and Sharon. Thank you for being with us this evening. And this side-by-side mode, if you're having any problems, just go to your view options and look for side-by-side mode. And the next slide, John. If you would like to use closed captioning or live transcript, whichever your program shows you, you just go to the bottom of the screen and hit live transcript, which also says CC for closed captioning. And it gives you some options on showing the subtitle or viewing the full transcript. Give you a moment to do that. All right. All right, I think we're just about ready. Erica, thanks for doing our closed captioning. I have the privilege of introducing you to our project manager, John McCormick, who's going to take us through this evening's presentation, which I think you'll find very informative. And then we're going to welcome your questions and comments at the end of the presentation. So John, please take it up. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Nancy. Hi, everyone. My name is John McCormick. I'm a senior project manager with the MBTA. Very excited to have this opportunity tonight to show you the project we are working on to make Downtown Crossing Station even more accessible. Our agenda tonight, we're going to start going over quickly the history, and then we're going to get into the objectives of the project. And then we're going to finish up with schedule and outreach, website, and contact information. So Downtown Crossing Station, the first line put in was the orange line in 1908. The red line followed in 1915. So we are dealing with a rather old, over 100 years old structure, underground, that is bordered by a very densely packed urban center. Many of you may know it's Downtown Crossing, the intersection of Summer Street and Washington Street, in where Macy's is, and many stores and restaurants down and close to the center of Boston. The objectives of the project are to basically enhance the accessibility of the station to get into full compliance with the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. This project will provide more equity as far as being able to transfer between the red line and the orange line at Downtown Crossing Station than what is currently there now. And basically these assets, these elevators will reduce the life cycle maintenance costs because they'll be brand new. So they won't break down as we have existing elevators in place now that are pretty old. Okay, so this project consists of 3 elevators that will allow connections within the paid areas of the station. It will allow a connection to from the red line, both northbound and southbound, to the red line southbound, and to the orange line southbound as well as northbound. Downtown Crossing project phase 1, this is phase 2. Phase 1 added 2 elevators. You may be familiar with them. Those 2 elevators provide a connection between red line northbound and the orange line southbound, orange line northbound to Oak Grove at Downtown Crossing Station. So phase 2 will build upon phase 1 and will be making connections to red line southbound, to both orange line platforms, northbound and southbound, as well as a red line northbound to orange line southbound connection. The 3 locations of these elevators are Park Street, which will make use of the Winter Street Concourse to connect to the Forest Hills platform at Downtown Crossing. That elevator will be on the center platform, southern end, where there is an existing elevator right now that is non-compliant. We will be putting in a brand new elevator and taking that existing non-compliant elevator out of service. Winter Street is another elevator that we will be installing basically a new elevator within an existing shaft and extending that shaft to make connections to the red line below its current stop at the orange line level. Macy's is a brand new elevator that we will be putting in on the Summer Street Concourse side, connecting southbound red line service to the orange line northbound service. So Park in this on the right hand side is up at the northern end of the Winter Street Underground Concourse. That is a connection between Park Street Station and Downtown Crossing Station. Winter Street is the existing elevator that is there today that currently goes from the Washington Street surface level down to the orange line unpaid lobby. And then Macy's is our brand new elevator that will be basically right next to the Macy's building, and it will travel between the paid area of the orange line Summer Street Concourse, which connects to the orange line northbound, and the red line southbound service via the South Passageway Tunnel. The Park Street elevator is a general location of it. A couple of renderings. This elevator will involve a new stairway too. And this elevator will replace an existing elevator, which is currently located at the center platform next to these stairs. And that will provide a connection between the orange line southbound and the red line northbound via the Winter Street Concourse. You can see an existing picture inset, the top small picture. That's what's there now. The renderings below show what we are proposing to install. This is a 3D animation of the Winter Street, the Park Street elevator. And we are basically starting the animation. We are looking at a section that cut through. At the top is Winter Street, just below Winter Street, and on top of the roof of Winter Street Concourse are some utilities. See some rods and some rectangles protruding out there. We have the Winter Street Concourse with our center columns in green, indicating that Park Street Station is in that direction. We are looking towards Park Street Station with the orange line Forest Hills platform to our backs. Below, you will see the red line tunnel tubes that run below the Winter Street Concourse between Park Street Station and Downtown Crossing Station. Now I'll start the animation. And it's just bringing us up the Winter Street Concourse to the location of this new elevator, which will travel between this level and the center platform of Park Street's Red Line Station. We're making use of existing well in the right of way at between the tracks to make that part of the new shaft of this new elevator. So we will be doing a lot of work close to the trackway up by Park Street Station at the southern end. And that concludes the animation slide for Park Street elevator. Moving on to Macy's elevator. This elevator is on the Summer Street Concourse. It's within the paid lobby area of the orange line and the red line southbound at Downtown Crossing Station. We will be installing this elevator in between walls of an existing stairwell. It's a U-shaped stairwell, so we'll be putting it in the middle of the U. It will connect people down from the orange line down to the red line and vice versa. Once down on the red line, you will travel down the south passageway to the red line platform at Downtown Crossing Station, which provides service to points south, Ashmont and Braintree on the red line. The Macy's elevator, this is an animation of that. We're starting out in the south passageway level on the red line level. So this is the bottom stop for the elevator. It's a 2-stop elevator. We're putting in as much glazing as possible for public safety. Obviously, since these elevators are all underground and right up against existing building foundations, we are tight for space, so we are doing the best we can to make it as accessible as possible. I'm going to start the animation now and just run you through the Macy's elevator. So in the animation, basically we're backing up the south passageway. If you can imagine, we're walking backwards to the stairwell that would lead up to the orange line southbound platform. This is a breakaway. It's just going to start showing the stairs, the hoistway. There's a blue square on the left that runs under the stairs and directly will basically over the ceiling of the south passageway. That is a very large and very old sewer line that is active. So We have a lot of work to keep that intact during the construction. Just adds to the complexity of the project. This sewer will also impact the construction of the Winter Street elevator also. So basically, as I said, there's a stairwell there. It's U-shaped, and we're going to squeeze this elevator inside the U to make that connection, as I previously indicated. I'm going to jump to the next slide, and we're going to talk now about the Winter Street elevator. We have some existing pictures of the street level that takes you down from Washington Street. We call it Winter Street because it's in the Winter Street building, so we call it the Winter Street elevator. And we're taking this elevator out, putting a new elevator in, and we're making it into 3 stops. What's interesting about this elevator is that it will be electronically controlled, so that say if you enter it at street level and you want to take it down to the red line, southbound South Passageway Tunnel, you would take it 1 level down, the doors would open on one side, you would exit, you'd pay the fare at the Orange Line level, come around onto the Orange Line platform at Forest Hills, and re-enter the elevator. There'll be doors on the opposite side, and you can continue down to the Red Line level on that same elevator. So this is basically making use of the existing shaft. We'll be enlarging the existing shaft a bit to make it as accessible as possible and structure compliant. As you can see, there's a couple of renderings down right on the bottom in the center. To the left is the South Passageway, another look at that stairway. Further down that in that existing picture is where this elevator will be located. And now I'll take you to the animation. I'll walk you through this. So again, we're taking this elevator that's existing, replacing it with a new elevator that will allow customers to access the Red Line below the Orange Line. You'll also be, still able to access the Orange Line. Here you see the Orange Line tracks with center white platforms. Underneath those tracks and is the infamous large, very old Boston Water and Sewer Commission sewer that we will have to support during our construction. And right now we're looking down the platform of Forest Hills on the Orange Line, and that's breaking away. I'm going to show the shaft in the Red Line level where people will enter and exit the elevator. There'll be a small ramp up to the South Passageway due to the difference in elevations. And that will lead down to the Red Line South platform at Downtown Crossing Station. The schedule for this project is we are currently progressing from 30% to 75% design. 75% design is due this December, a couple of months. And then after that, we will be shooting for 100% design in late spring, early summer of next year, 2022. And then put it out to bid in the summer next year. and get a NTP for the contractor to start construction in approximately September, late summer, early fall of next year. And then the construction will last approximately 2 to 2.5 years. And we're looking at substantial completion for the Macy's and Winters elevator in the first quarter of 2024. And then Park Street, which we are looking at utilities in Winter Street to see if any utilities have to be relocated. That design is lagging a little bit behind of the other two elevators. So we're looking at finishing up Park Street construction in Q2 of 2025, and then being complete in May, June timeframe of that same year, 2025. We have already presented to various commissions. As you can see on the left, the bullets, this is our first public meeting, and we will have more public meetings as we progress the design into 2022. We do have a website at mbta.com/DTX accessibility. And we also have a project website, project email that goes directly to the team. And that's dtx@mbta.com. So we look forward to communicating via that tool. And now it's basically the end of the presentation, and we will open it up. I'll turn it back over to Nancy for your questions, if any. Thank you.
Thanks, John. And the 3D images are amazing. They really show the complexity of this work, and appreciate the fact that we can all look at those. So first of all, we will recognize any elected officials, although I don't see any in particular. You can use the Q&A button to send us a typed question or comment, or you can use the raise hand feature, and then we will acknowledge you. Let me just make sure. There is someone from Boston Transportation Department. I don't know, Matt, if you'd like to have any comments or ask a question before we go to the public. Yeah, I think you're available there, Matt.
Hey, Nancy. Yeah, Matt Moran here with the Boston Transportation Department. I think we're excited for this project, and we've been working with our Disabilities Commission as well on this and a number of other MBTA accessibility projects. So anything we can do to support you guys, please let us know. But I think we're excited to see this important accessibility and transit improvement.
Great, thanks, Matt. We met with the commissioner, the advisory board of the commission. So I think we've given this presentation quite a few times, but we learn something every time. So thank you for being with us. Is there anyone else who has a question or a comment for us? I saw a hand up, but maybe change your mind. I don't know, John, you must have done a pretty good job. I don't see any questions. We'll wait a minute. All right, Stephen, Stephen the Burge. We will unmute you, Stephen. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what does DTX stand for?
That's basically an acronym for Downtown Crossing Station.
Oh,
so
okay. Seems like quite a project. It's going to be exciting to see when it's done. There's going to be a lot of noise in there for a while, though, huh?
Yes. Yep. It's challenging. Very challenging and complex. So, but we're up for the challenge.
Merging the old to the new, so because that's an old station. So yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very true.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Stephen. Yes. Well, no one lives in Macy, so that's good news, at least. Are any other comments or questions? Let me look in the Q&A. So Stefan would like to know, John, do we know if the proposed Winter Street elevator will be the first in the MBTA system covering both paid and unpaid levels? If it's not the first, do you know where the other is or others are? That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a great question. I know of one other elevator, and it's at Kenmore Station. It goes from the busway at Kenmore Station down to the Green Line mezzanine lobby area, unpaid, and it has 2 doors on opposite sides of the cab. So it's basically going to be the same concept as that elevator. And I'm not sure, I do not think there's another elevator like that until we have the Winter Street elevator up and running.
Symmetry Alexander, not a question, just wanted to say thanks, John and Nancy, and tonight's ASL interpreters, who I think have a lot, we're really grateful to have with us. So we appreciate it. Thank you. Sam Cronin, hi there. Sam Cronin with the Scope in Roxbury. What went into the design choice to have customers exit and re-enter the elevator in the Winter Street installation?
Well, we're basically confined with space down there. So we're reusing the existing shaft and to have people come down. Currently, what happens now is people come down from the street and they exit only on one side and they pay their fare and you know, they have access to the Orange Line Forest Hills platform, or they could go up the Winter Street concourse to get to Park Street, Green or Red. But the reason why we have to do it this way is because, you know, you have to pay a fare to use the system. And so leaving the rest of like the infrastructure of the station in place, we have to utilize the existing fare gate array. So you would come out basically the same way you come out now and pay the fare, go through the gates. And then if you wish to go down to the Red Line southbound, you would again access the same elevator, except this time you would be on the platform of the Orange Line, the Forest Hills platform, and you would take it down one stop and to gain access to the Red Line southbound. Thanks,
John. John McLaughlin has asked what alternatives are available as you upgrade existing elevators. And you've in part answered that because these are confined spaces, but are there any other issues? I know you've worked hard to make the space accessible.
So security wise, you know, the cameras will be in the elevators. Also for public safety, and we will have a lot of glazing as much as possible. The Winter Street elevator shaft, because it's 3 stops, that may be considered a fireproof shaft, so it cuts down the amount of glazing we can use. But usually we're looking to do the doors and full glass lights. And yeah, some other upgrades are pretty common. Standard is we use epoxy floors and that come up in one monolithic pour, forming a cove base. So it's easier to maintain. And basically the communication systems are updated. And I believe we are also working on a new, we'll have like visual panels, electrical panels there that will, you know, tell you if the elevator will be out of service for routine maintenance and whatnot, and then other communications as well. So those are some of the new aspects of the elevators.
Great, and I presume the lighting and wayfinding are also going to be updated, John.
Yes, lighting will be updated. Wayfinding will also be updated.
Okay, so Mr. McLaughlin wrote again and said, sorry, we misunderstood the question. Perhaps I did. You are taking existing elevators out of service in order to upgrade them, Winter Street and Red Line Center. For those who need elevators, how will they get to their platforms during construction? Apologies that I misunderstood that question.
So Park Street, we will not take that elevator, that existing elevator out of service because we're building a new elevator in a different location. Once we have the new elevator up and running, we will be able to take that elevator, that existing old elevator out of service. Winter Street, we will have to take that out of service, and while we're building the new elevator, so that we'll have to make accommodations for the loss of that elevator while we do the construction and installation of that elevator. So that's a big part of the phasing of how we will, the sequencing of which elevators we'll put in first. And so we're working on that currently in our 75% design.
And as the project gets closer to construction, we'll make all that information will be available to potential riders and passengers. Yeah. Do we have any other questions or hands? Anyone would like to ask a question? Make a comment? Just remind you that if you think of anything afterwards, you're welcome to write us at dtx@mbta.com, and we do our best to answer promptly and give you as much information as possible. As John mentioned, we'll probably be out early next year with more information on the 75% design, and then have more details available for you at that time. I'll wait another minute and see if there are any other questions or comments, but other than that, send you off to dinner or whatever comes next in your life this evening. Oh, I want to thank our captioner and our ASL interpreters. Thank you very much. John, thanks for the presentation.
Thanks, Nancy.
My team, thanks for being in the background. Thanks very much. Thank you all for attending. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions. We will post this presentation. Sometimes it takes us a couple days to get it posted online, but it will be available.
Thank you,
very
everyone.
much. Thanks, and have a good evening.